Hey guys, Pete here, and in today's video I figured that since I already covered the past updates of Arcane Odyssey, that we should now look towards the future and see what features are going to be added to the game in the full release update and beyond. Let's get right into it. So I'm first going to go over what is coming in full release, as well as some speculations on what other features could make the cut. Then I will go over the rest of the features. All of this information is on Vtex's Trello that he set up. I encourage you to go check it out after you watch this video. Link will be in the description. Alright, so coming in the full release update, we have the obvious increase in level cap, which Tech Level 80 has stated to be a big jump due to 2 story chapters being added. I've also heard rumors that Vtex stated the cap would be 175 in the Patreon chat, but I cannot confirm that as I am not in that chat. The new story chapters will take place in the Nimbus Lands, which is a set of sky islands in the Nimbus Sea, and we will be getting new story bosses and gear on top of that. We will also get a new clam themed armor set from fishing, even more new islands in the Nimbus Sea, new island specific gear sets, more quests, new spirit weapons, one being the Staff and Knight from a new mini boss named Dusk, more spirit weapon rights, new fighting styles, one being Powder Fist, which involves tagging enemies and triggering a delayed explosion, and Vanishing Style, which involves using trace magic to build focus and turn invisible. This fighting style can also crit on attack charge up and pierce blocks for a little more damage. This also applies to weapons. All that said, just for the takeaway to be that builds are going to get even more in-depth in this full release, especially vitality builds now that there's more options in terms of abilities and spirit weapons. You will also be getting Sensing, player dueling, a new feature where you can request a duel with a player and bet galleons, winner takes all. You will also get player professions, ghost ships, legendary ship battles, a guidebook which will hopefully make the game easier to understand for new players, a revamped cooking, brewing, and jewel crafting UI, animals that spawn on islands, Dark Sea archipelagos, satyrs and Atlantean sirens in the Dark Sea, a 100 Robux starter pack that will skip a save slot to level 100 as long as you have already played through the game on another slot. On top of that, you will also get more meal types, numerous visual improvements to stuff such as oceans and terrains, the hurricane weather event, the return of World of Magic NPCs in a sense, with them being client-sided and more detailed in their actions and interactions with not just the player, as well as new weapon skills which look crazy. The vitality stat will also get rebranded and reworked, making it no longer give health or take away damage, while also making it increase max energy. You will also get soap. Yes, soap is being added in full release. We will also be given a search bar in the inventory GUIs to make navigation seamless, as well as a keybinds page where you can finally change your keybinds if you so choose, and a new sorcerer animation pack. A lot of these features seem to be quality of life or highly requested features like keybinds and a better UI for skills. However, one of the most requested features is also finally being added on full release: PvP toggling. This feature will be available for people under 300,000 renown who are not affiliated with a clan, and is a huge quality of life feature for players who don't want to get attacked on random for no reason besides someone looking for a fight. Vtex was also thinking about making a special type of clan that focuses on PvE, so then people in clans would be able to turn off PvP, but nothing else has been said on the matter. Also being added in full release are enemy towers, which will contain a smaller enemy faction and a boss. These towers will spawn across islands in all seas, with the difficulty scaling based on what sea you're in. They will also vary in size, and you'll be able to break into these towers from anywhere and fight the enemies to get their drops. There will also be chests that could drop exclusive modifiers and gems. Essentially, this feature is what the Greenwich Cultist camp is in a more condensed area. You will also be getting numerous non-story related bosses, such as Halbjorn, the former chief of Redwake. Then there's Ormolu, a legendary monster that resides deep in the Stepstones, and also King Caesar, the former king of Ravenna, who was resurrected by an unnamed experimental curse that landed on his corpse. That's a wild one. On top of this, he will be inside the blasted rock tornado and will only be fought when the tornado eases up. Also, there's Miseria, a serial killer thought dead, whose victims all have signs of magic strangulation marks on their necks. That's a bit dark, but it sounds sick. And finally, there will also be the Banished King, found deep within the abyss of Karen on Macronaus. The Banished King is a former tyrannical ruler whose corpse is being possessed by chaos itself. We also will be getting 2 new joinable factions in the game, and I'm excited for this, as hopefully one of them is the Brug faction rumored to be coming to the game, but in terms of full release, that is all we know. Now that we have gone over all the known features for full release, let's speculate. One feature I believe that could easily make it into full release is Arcanium weapons. Similar to strength weapons being tied to warlords, Arcanium weapons will be predominantly used by conjurers, but mages and warriors will also be able to use them, just not as effectively. The player will bind a magic of their choosing to an Arcanium weapon and create a spell that's bound to the weapon. Very simple, yet due to all the weapon types in the game, those weapon and magic affinities will alter the spell in terms of size, speed, and damage, allowing for even more customization. If Arcanium weapons could be added in full release, then weapon casting could easily be added too. You would bind your magic to an Arcanium weapon, however, it would then cast all your spells already created on your magic, instead of having you create a new spell for the weapon. This would make weapon casting a purely cosmetic change over normal spell casting. We could also see the power slider make its return from Arcane Adventures in the full release update. For those of you who didn't play Arcane Adventures, this would allow players to change how strong their attacks are at will. This feature seems like it would be simple to add, so I don't know why they wouldn't add it sooner than later. Speaking of returning features from Arcane Adventures, water spouts can come back in full release. For those of you who haven't played, in order to get up to Cumulus Island, you had to wait for a water blast to launch you up to the island. These would function in a similar fashion in Arcane Odyssey, but instead they would fling ships, players, and NPCs, and spawn at random. Another addition that isn't confirmed, but I believe to be a safe bet, is the addition of more rare spells and techniques, as with an increase in level cap, the 100% stat investment classes need new toys. But that rounds up what is coming in full release, and what I believe could also be added. Next up is the features coming later on after full release. Let's start with what I'd say are the most anticipated. I first off want to preface this part of the video by saying that Vtex has said he wants to start releasing updates every 2 to 4 months after the full release update, which will primarily focus on story and level cap increases, with the remaining dev time going towards new features. So all the features I'm about to mention will likely not be added in one massive update, and instead be released over time. With a higher quantity of updates coming out quicker, we obviously won't be receiving the same quantity of content per update, but I hope that this doesn't result in a loss of quality. And you can't say anticipated features quite like lost magics. These magics are assumed to be simply better than base magics, as they are 100% going to be rarer. Lost magics have gone through many changes in how they will be obtained, and currently are stated to be obtained through using a Hecate shard to mutate your current magic into a similar lost magic. These Hecate shards will be obtained through sea-based activities at around player level 300. Some examples of lost magics are Flare, Gravity, Heat, Storm, Aether, and Phoenix. Some of those magics can be seen in the game wielded by different NPCs, and in the case of Phoenix, a very memorable NPC and boss in Arcane Adventures wielded this. Oh, the pain Theos caused me. There used to be a list of these on the Trello back when the game was still World of Magic, and people saved the list, but take this with a grain of salt, as this list was clearly deleted for a reason, and this list could have changed by now. Did someone say lost magics? Nah, I'd rather have an ancient magic. Ancient magics are going to be way stronger anyways, which is true, at the cost that you can't simply create a spell. You would have to learn every spell on that magic using scrolls. Ancient magics will be obtainable as an item from sea-based activities around player level 450. Some examples of ancient magics are Scorch, Electron, Apocalypse Springer, Death, and Shatter. No NPCs use an ancient magic to its full extent in the game currently, albeit Calvis does use a smidge of Apocalypse Bringer that he inherited from his grandfather's curse. So clearly magic-based classes are going to be having fun, but what about fighting-based classes? There will also be lost fighting styles such as Radius Fist, Impact Fist, and Vampirism. Since I'm an edgelord, we're going to start with the latter, Vampirism. Now essentially you'll become a vampire. The end. In reality, your skin will turn pale and your body temperature will increase for some reason, which results in you being slower during the day. In exchange, your punches would be stronger and inflict bleed, and of course, heal you. A very simple fighting style, yet quite potent. This might actually make me tolerate fighting styles for once. Next up, we have Impact Fist, returning from Arcane Adventures, but nowhere near as busted, unfortunately. This fighting style will involve absorbing incoming damage and filling a meter that boosts your attacks, in contrast to essentially being Thermo Fist, but instead of speed, you get an insane amount of damage. Then finally we have Radius Fist, which involves simply sending shockwaves in your hits, which extends your attack range. That's it. I'm sorry weapon-based classes, I couldn't find anything on lost weapon skills or anything. I did find mentions of legendary weapons, so that seems to be where your exclusive and busted abilities will come from. Some other things that will eventually be added later down the road are more weather and natural occurrences, meteors, player ship fleets, town and kingdom alignments, Dark Sea castaways, the Siren Alliance quest, Atlantean/corrupted dragons, a dragon blood ritual, unique Atlantean behaviors, Dark Sky Islands, underwater Dark Sea structures, the Book of Athena/Wisdom and its pages, Dark Sea centaurs, the completion of the epicenter, the diving bell, which will be used to get out of the incredibly deep dark abyss, mutated sea creatures, and the Goliath boss. Now I know I went kinda fast there, and you may have heard me mention the oh so important Dark Sea castaways. Who am I kidding? The dragons sound sick and I can't wait for those to be added, as there will also sometimes be an event where the dragons can fly out of the Dark Sea and raid the War Seas. I would just love an item that could trigger that, as I know I'd have a reason to go back to Dawn Island again. But in all seriousness, these things will be terrifying, as they will be normal dragons in the early stages of the Dark Sea, and then get more mutated and crippled the deeper you go, and seeing the Dragon Blood ritual, where you can bathe in dragon blood to increase your base stats, you know these things are going to be hard to kill. Alright, that's it for this video. I know I kinda glossed over a lot of features and didn't explain them, but most of the features function exactly how they sound, like for instance, the new player skill UIs, or in the case of some other features, they're still so far from being implemented into the game, they could still be changed around, just like how obtaining lost magics went from scrolls to Hecate shards. If you like this video, leave a like and comment down below with some videos you'd want to see next, and make sure to subscribe to see if I make some of those. Anyways, see you next time.